Right.
So here comes the independence, here comes the skill set, here comes the get-go, which you do not see the drive with the youth in Trinidad because they're not being exposed or having to be put in that situation. Right? When you're in the US, it's go.
Oh yes.
Right?
Oh,
There's
yes.
no sit back home and lay back and the bills come and no, pay the bills, go. So that's what we're lacking in the youth today. They're not, there's no opportunity. So where do you go from there? This morning, passing sea lots, I mean, literally, tears came to my eyes. I saw 4 young guys, and the car stopped right in front of them, and I could just see the utter no hope on their face. And they looked at me, and I looked at them, but I could see, what am I doing today? Right? Yesterday, South Park had a robbery. So the crime is coming down south.
right.
Yeah? It's
Yes,
coming down
yes. south.
Our borders are wide open in Cedrus. Go on a beach in
Wow.
Cedrus and you can see anything and everything coming up. It's right in the open. Right? So for those who think that it's not going to touch your area, it's not far from you, it's there. Because South Park is where you go and you have a little fun. Now I will think twice about going to South Park again because my safety has become as a
issue.
woman
Yeah,
an
as an
issue. So South, we are neglected. The lack of representation in all of the South constituencies. The last time everybody saw their MP, their councillor, was election time.
Correct.
And their issues can continue. Right now, I am fighting Superior Regional to the bone. 5 years fighting them on an issue. Yesterday, I wrote the Minister of Local Government, and I am forcing them to answer and deal with my issue. But I have means to do that. What about the average person?
Correct.
And that's what we're facing in Trinidad, that unfairness.
But again, that's
You know, that unfairness, who you know mentality is only who you know. So I intend on visitor Minister Hussein next week because you don't want to answer my email. You don't want to answer me in the paper. You don't want to answer me on television. You're going to answer. Because it's in the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, the Municipal Act of Trinidad and Tobago. I had to copy and paste and tell them what's in the laws. So can you imagine what the average citizen is going through? Your
Correct.
drain clogging up, your lights not fixed, no one is there to represent you.
Correct.
That is
Representation is very poor.
That is the problem right there. So we have a new guest.
I thought he wasn't to come in today.
I said he want to jump the country. Why? Yeah. I see a man tell me, see a Piaco, what is Alexander?
Good morning, Mr. Defoe. Good morning, Miss Creaky. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, the loyal listeners of 104.7, those following us on social media. Michelle Davis, I could listen to you talk all day.
Thank you, sir.
I could listen to you. I'm sitting down here. I drove here listening to the exchange. I was in that same traffic Janice was in for 2 hours trying to get out of Diego Martin because one car stalled. But I could listen to you all day. You're saying it and you're making the point that we want everybody to get. This is never about us being a political party. Every single one of us in this party, from me go down, would rather be doing something else. I know you would have rather been doing anything else this morning but having to drive from 6 o'clock this morning from Cedrus to here.
It's worth it.
But I'm saying,
Yes.
in a properly run country, you know what? I was listening to that song this morning that it will date me. It's an old song, you know. Remember that song? Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. I think of is this job that we've taken on now. That's what we get. Yeah? Sorry about that.
I
I
feel
think
an
Janice
obligation.
found us.
I feel an obligation to help solve the deficiencies because I'm experiencing it myself. I've been back 11 years now and nothing works. You can't get a job. You can't,
So this morning, a PEP member, Jean-Claude Escalante, brilliant young man, he put up this post about wealth redistribution. And the exchange that he and others are having is about wealth redistribution and trying to come at it from the position of what is the premise of redistribution? And it presupposes that wealth was distributed in the first place. And in Trinidad and Tobago, that's not our issue, you know. Our issue in Trinidad and Tobago is power distribution. None of us have power. The Progressive Empowerment Party has carved a space for itself. Driving on the road, talking to Tiffany Young, one of our South members. She's a new member. And she's under a barrage. She's dealing with UNC diehards who making her life hard every time she share a post. And I'm trying to explain to Tiffany, say, listen, those same people that cousin Philip Alexander will give their firstborn child to see Kamala walk me up on a stage with my hand in the air and a yellow shirt, you know.
Of course.
Because the same
Yep.
people that cussing me for my ability and my skills want to say, aha, we got a champion, look out, Pierre. You understand what I'm
Yes,
trying to tell you?
exactly.
And the only reason I'm saying that, you too, Janice too,
Yes,
Tony, they want
yes.
but they don't understand that the politics starts with each and every one of us. When you say what you said just now, that minister going to see you knocking on his door, that's the way.
That's right.
That's the way.
Yep.
Don't stand up on your corner and wait for friends to come and light thing on fire. Go to the minister.
Yes.
According to the law, that's your job. And if I begin legal action against you, you will come out of office and still be meeting me in that court system that will take 20 years to resolve this.
Correct.
And you will resolve it.
Exactly.
And they need to understand.
Understand.
The average citizen needs to understand their power. And that's the job. When we say we inform, educate, and empower, we are trying to literally hand Trinbagonians that knowledge that you have, that ability, that feeling that you have in your soul that you will not be denied. We want every Trinidadian to think
Yep.
like that. When
We
Tony go down in the area and turn on that camera, he not coming to wait for you to say, yeah, you could pass here. I pass in here.
Right.
We putting this in the public space. Janice light up Wassa last year. And Janice used to be posting today and Wassa fixing tomorrow. I said they gonna give Janice a walk. They gonna give Janice a walk because Janice is pothole spotter in chief.
With water seeping out of the pothole, I hate to think that there's water wasting, and there are people in this country that cannot get water in the taps, and they're paying Wassa a rent every month,
Religiously.
every quarter.
And this is one of the major issues in South. Tanks are continuing to sell like crazy in South. Imagine in
look now,
2019.
Lianos and them, they couldn't do the kind of business they do anywhere else in the world that they do in Trinidad.
That's
Every
right.
house, when you build a house,
You
when you
have
build
to
a house,
cater.
you have in Trinidad and Tobago, you know there's a sign that we are a failed nation. When you build a house, you have to account for your dog kennel, your wrought iron, and your water tank and pump.
Yeah.
Those are three expenses and a guard dog kennel. If you have a dog and you live in your house, a different thing. But people have guard dog in the yard, so they budgeted when they're buying groceries, Purina dog chow for the guard dog outside.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you? This is an insane way to live.
But not just that, you can't have just one tank anymore.
Oh no.
I went to a home in St. Joseph, and that person had about 6 tanks.
Yeah.
And not small tanks,
No, all right.
but
So,
big tanks.
so they say, Tony, they say, all you're raising the issues, tell me how you will fix it. The Progressive Empowerment Party says, we will break up and decentralize Wassa
Right.
into 41 independent water source, water catchment, water holding, water treating, water distribution companies. You have a work. You're in Diego Martin, you're in Toko Manzanella. Identify the major source of your water. Hold the volume that you need for your population.
That's right.
We will interconnect the system through turn on, turn off joints.
Right.
So that if your constituency in trouble, you could borrow water from your neighbor.
That's right, yes.
Your neighbors to the north, neighbor to the west, you could borrow some water in your lines.
Yes.
But Diego Martin, Janice and I from Diego Martin, and Janice could tell you, everybody bracing for drought in Trinidad, they go have rain to get still. And the rain that washes down the Diego Martin River that starts up on the top of Diego Martin and reaches out in Westmoreland, that water that washes out of Diego Martin into the sea, that is enough water for the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. Just Diego.
Yeah.
Just Diego.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes. But we need to, as citizens, recognize the issues that we are experiencing. I can't even say they're third world, they're fourth world. Because why are we talking about water? In 2019, a basic necessity. We're still, South is crying for water. South whether you're in Gulf City, whether you're in Vance River,
Yes,
whether you're in La Brea, whether you're in Point South, is plagued by water issues.
One of your members sent me something today that I want to try and find to give Janice to read. That he shared that was just talking about the elderly and the bus schedule. Michelle, that is ridiculous.
But it's a fact.
How you have old people standing up in the sun. I don't know if you could find on my wall, there is a post, go on my profile, and there's a wall about, and it starts sent to me. And if you could find that. Because what he's talking about is the people in Faizabad. Now, oh God, man, for all the gods, the old and the new, the entire pantheon of gods, if it wasn't for Faizabad, Trinidad never had all. You could read that to them. Trinidad, that was sent to me. I didn't write that, right? That was sent to me today. Janice, read that for the people today.
An issue that ought to have been at the forefront of this discussion is the inconsistency of the public transportation system as it relates to Faizabad. Faizabad sees possibly one of the highest mid to senior citizens community, many of who depend on the bus service. It should be noted that this service almost on a daily basis leaves many elderly persons standing sometimes for over an hour, sometimes two at the bus schedule more times than not, if not at all. At times, a bus that ought to leave the San Fernando terminus at 2 p.m. does not leave until 3 or sometimes 4, with no notification about the delay from the PTSC authorities. Elderly persons are left to stand in a queue in the hot sun during this time, hoping that a bus does in fact arrive. Of all the political councillors, there is only one that seems to have an idea of his job description. Most areas in Faizabad sees no meaningful representation at the councillor level. Alternatively, there is a clear bias as it pertains to the distribution of assistance from the Superior Regional Corporation, which is and has traditionally been UNC run, to opposing areas held by other political parties. Racism is a clear and present factor in the delivery of services by said corporation. Faizabad is a community that prior to the Petrotrin spectacle saw on a daily basis millions of dollars passing through, as it was and will continue to be a trans hub for oil activity. Forest Reserve Faizabad, which houses a small residential community, is left to fend for themselves as no public transportation services that area. None. The residents are left to beg for a ride in and out of Forest Reserve Faizabad from Petrotrin workers that may be familiar with them. Additionally, Faizabad during 2018 may have actually seen more murders and crime than other areas traditionally known as hotspots. Some of the most heinous and grotesque murders have been happening in Faizabad in recent times. Faizabad is the genesis of the oil booms of past, yet development still evades this constituency.
You could stop there because it makes the point. Who is
Correct.
the member of parliament for Faizabad?
Member of Parliament is. Ooh, I'm blanking out on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the
yeah, it's not even.
But that's the point. And Tony, you could look up who is the member of parliament for Faizabad, who are the councillors, local government. When he said there's an inequality, racial inequality in the distribution of goods and services from government, that is textbook, holds itself to account, that is self-correcting, and that in situations like that, people who are practicing that racist discrimination in the distribution of government services should be jailed.
That's exactly what my case is about, and that's the point I've been trying to make. Imagine you have an issue, it's in black and white in the law, and you are not being served. The complaint is against a UNC member, which Superior Regional is UNC led, and therefore I am being denied service. I can tell you that for a fact, because the fact that it continues to go on and continues to be neglected, and many people besides myself are going through this. This is a standard in Trinidad.
But as Janice said earlier,
Standard.
the UNC tries to pretend that it is something different. Lakram Bodo? I don't even know.
No.
I've not heard. Listen, we go down Point Fortin, we go down Faizabad, and what we see is constituencies that time forgot.
We're back in time.
Yes.
Point Fortin,
Yes.
if you wanna
That is so
visit
true.
Trinidad in the 70s, go Point Fortin.
Come see Idris.
Go see
You'll hit
just
60s and 50s.
Matlock Police Station. You see that one? You see Matlock Police Station?
That's an
Matlock
escape.
Police Station is 2 containers, 20-foot containers, and a roof. I mean, it is insane what they do in these people. And we spend 9
And Philip, those areas are the most diehard. Come to Cedars, come to Point. They have a pattern.
They're fighting the PEP so hard. They're fighting the PEP so hard because the narrative between the PNM and the UNC is either or. So you ought to sit down and say, which one is the lesser evil? Now, all of a sudden, you have a real political choice. A political party that in 2 years has carved a space for itself that is neither PNM nor UNC.
yes.
No other political party has ever been able to do that. Not COP, not MSJ, none.
right.
None has ever been able to do this. Everybody knows that all of those other parties come out from each other. The Progressive Empowerment Party, as Tony said earlier, founded by everyday people like the people in this room, makes up an organization that is separate and independent and apart from the racist tribal polarization of the PNM and UNC. Insulated from the contract mafia, no money from the 1%. They've shown they have us in court, they're suing us, they block us on the media.
Yeah.
So they've demonstrated a hostility to the Progressive
That's
Empowerment
right.
Party. And that helps us. Because the public is seeing a poll being conducted on Facebook today that asks, do you believe will stamp out corruption and bring the corrupt to justice? PNM, UNC, PEP. The PEP is winning that poll by 90% right now.
Wow.
Because the people know. And it is panicking the contract mafia, the puppet masters that operate the PNM and the UNC.
Yes.
Because if the council in Separia change hands and where the money gets spent, we now have to do multiples of freedom of information requests to find out from the Keith Rowley administration. There's one security. Where is the transparency? The office to put procurement legislation into place. You're 3 years in. You give us
Nothing.
pie charts and graphs, Janice. And the graph for campaign finance.
Tell me.
Yes.
The sitting chairman of the Elections and Boundaries Commission told me in 2010, this is 2018, God knows 8 years ago.
Yes.
8 years ago, he told me the work, the substantive work for campaign finance legislation has been done. Now you tell me. We have
Where is it?
antitrust laws in this country, Janice, that have been debated in the parliament, that have been approved and they agreed.
I had a director at Town and Country tell me, well, we know the laws are outdated. I think it's from the 60s. And
Yeah, but
it does
outdated
not
laws.
apply to a modern society.
Because all of those people who sit in those offices have lived in a world where PNM, UNC, same, Gobar, different day. Viliana Ramuta Singh has talked too foul. So I'm trying to see if I give that UNC sycophant, if I stop talking foul, Viliana, will you support me? Because every time they raise a point of an issue, as Tony said earlier, it's not about our policies. Because our policies rocking the roots of the vampire system.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
When you ask it, April, May, June, 5 more months,
Right.
you're going to decriminalize marijuana. Where's the legends of those
That's right.
who were convicted? Because if you decriminalize it and you don't expunge their records, they could sue the state.
Well, this is it.
Where's the vacation? Where are you? Where's current matters that weigh of the matters before the court, marijuana matters?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Where's that issue? You see, these are the things that they're not asking.
Conversation.
You have your sycophants, paid applauders, and you're telling them foolishness. You give them a blue picture of a graph of $1, and you tell them $10 goes, $9 goes towards what it was, $50 going towards salaries, wages, and pensions. $9 going towards social services. Why pension, not social services? Why is pensions not that? Because you know why? Because you put pensions and wages and salaries, it obfuscates the point that 50% of our payments of every dollar is going to wages and salaries. And people are going to ask, why is 50% of our money going to wages and salaries and 10% going to infrastructure? 10% is going to infrastructure. That is why the road is like that. That is why the sidewalks are like that. That is why the whole country is falling apart. You're spending 10 cents on a dollar on infrastructure, 50 cents on a dollar on wages and salaries, and we don't know what kind of return on investment we're getting for that. In his blue graph, 13% goes to something called other. Other. Nobody in the media yet. Today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. When he started this nonsense Monday, up to today, no economist of note or wrote have asked. Was that $13 billion a day? So you're telling me that $19 million every day being spent on other, and we don't know what that is? You understand? But you see, and if you tell them a lose sight, you will. So from the moment you bring a Progressive Empowerment Party government into the mix, and we tell you, this is how you manage an economy, that wages and salaries must be pegged to deliverables. Because you can't tell me that you paying all of these salaries and wages, and we don't know what we get in a business environment. A wage and a salary is a function of the business. It's a cost of doing business. But you must be ultimately chasing a profit.
That's right.
So if you're paying, I don't mind if you're paying $50 if it's bringing back $100. But if you're paying $50 on a dead loss, and you call it a net loss, why are we still doing it?
Exactly.
And here we talk about service, as you're saying that 50% on wages. When is the last time citizens got service in this country? You go to any ministry and no one can answer your question. No one knows what they're doing.
A police officer, I was driving on the road the other day, right? And a truck was carrying these long concrete piles, and he was in the right lane on Wrightson Road, causing traffic. And there was an outrider in front of him and an outrider behind him. So we in the traffic, and the outrider, my left, I turned down the window. I said, he is supposed to be in the left lane. He's breaking the law. He said, which law? I said, Chapter 4450, the Road Traffic Act. He dropped the visor right up the road and stopped traffic to move the truck into the left lane. What Michelle is saying is a fact.
Look at this.
Most of our police officers don't know the law of the land. They don't know the law of the land.
Most of anyone doesn't know the law.
All public servants don't know the law that govern what they do.
That is real what you're saying there, boy. That is real what
When you
are
tell
saying
Trinidadians that every office, the DPP, the judiciary, everything is a function of the supreme law of the Constitution. That if you read the Constitution, it speaks elections, parliament, everything into existence. But if you know that and you understand that, like 3 years ago when we were going against the fireworks importers, Stephen Williams had put out a report, a thing that said, there is nothing police could do. We put out a release that said, there is a law. And if you call a police station and you speak to a police officer and they do not enforce the law, take their badge, their regiment number, take that number and report them to the Police Complaints Authority and put it on Facebook. Stephen Williams, 2 days later, put out a release quoting the law. And that is the acting commissioner of police. The Chinese say when the people lead, the leaders follow. It is time. It is way past time that we had a national conversation from intelligent, informed, educated, empowered people.
That is
People need to be educated.
Exactly.
When they come to knock on your door to ask for your vote, ask them, you see where I live here? Jobs, traffic, and crime. Those are the 3 issues that affect my community. What is your government's plan for jobs, traffic, and crime? And that person who's knocking on the door can't tell you, well...
But that is so real. Look for the local election, Philip, that we did Barataria and Belmont. I remember seeing in Barataria the UNC councillor, and I asked her because we were at a home, and they were making their rounds, and I come out normal citizen. How you going? Morning. and she say, well, vote for me. I say, well, I'm voting for you for. We're going to change. I say we have roach and rat running down the drain and them here in Barataria. Mosquito like rain. Whoa, where's all their plan for the next couple of years to address that? You know the woman, you know what she tell me?
What?
Don't worry, we have it covered. man. I said, that's your answer, girl.
But the fact that people from Faizabad could write such detail and tell you our mass transit doesn't exist in Forest Park. And nobody is addressing
Addressing
that.
it.
This woman that Trinidad humiliated and made her the subject of memes, when the government took her and her family from her little squatter shack and gave her an HDC house in an unfinished HDC development that was 10 minutes walk from her house to the road, and she said that there is no public transport here and I have 2 children in school, that making any sense? Because she preferred to take her children and live back in her little
Shack.
shack.
Where she had
Because she had
transport.
access to the things that make up their lives.
Yeah.
And these people are not thinking along those lines.
Because it doesn't affect them, you see.
You see, not only that, they I get a house. You see what people
Yeah,
write? I
yeah.
get a house where you want, you want a car, you want
Yeah,
furniture too.
yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
The well-being of the citizen is the function and purpose of government. If you are planning housing, plan everything that goes to make up a life. You have to make sure that there is facilities for people to build grocery, build church, put up a park.
Yes.
It may not be your responsibility, but you can.
You see, that's a problem.
But in these first world countries, when they're doing developments, they incorporate everything from fire
Yes.
station, police station,
Yes.
hospital.
Those things go down first. Those
Yeah.
things go down first.
But
Yeah.
this is it.
Go down first. When you're in the States and you're watching a new development opening somewhere, it's because before they start to build house, they've earmarked all of the places. This is where we're gonna do the park. These are the water retention ponds for the community. This is you get all that information so you can make a judgment and a decision based on fact.
That is right.
And if they don't deliver it, you could sue them.
That is right.
But here again, we're not challenging. We're not challenging.
Sparrows tell them 38 years
the
ago and we
government.
like it, so you gotta take off your clothes to get a government 10 days. Take off your clothes.
Literally, and people, I have someone 2 days ago. She said, well, I'm trying to get a 10 days. I said, what does that 10 days do for you? What would, please advise me, because I played dumb and I said, explain it to me. I do not understand it. But we're settling for the minimum. And I put in the other day in an article, Trinidad practices deliberate incompetency. Because for a country that so-called this degree, that master's, the way we operate.
They have more degree than a thermometer in that parliament and practicing deliberate incompetency.
It is no
As
way.
stealing that, I'm telling Trinidad and Tobago right now, Michelle Davis is the author, but it is now my property because it's an absolute fact. I say it's broken by design. That's how I say it. That they set out to fail.
It is
Unbelievable.
It leaves you speechless.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
does.
it leaves
It
you
does.
speechless
You could
when
be-
you see the operation of this country. You see basic things cannot work. You know, have you ever come from Cedros? You know, I have constituency members, citizens in Cedros. They've come from Cedros, come to Port of Spain, only to be told they're on lunch. Only be told you have to come back tomorrow.
A whole day of traveling.
A whole day of traveling. That has happened to me hundreds of times, and to which I have challenged. Are you crazy? I am not going back down 3-4 hours traveling to come back up here tomorrow. You will serve me. I will sit here and
And
wait.
again, the Progressive Empowerment Party's policies to end traffic is to decentralize all government offices out of Port of Spain. You are not supposed to have to come here from Cedros and Tobago to come to Port of Spain to get things done. People in Port of Spain answer me, so are you going to make my life harder to help everybody else? I say yes, because that's how a country is supposed to operate. But there's the capital. That doesn't mean it's supposed to distress everybody else in the country.
Correct.
Most of the services that we give as a government in the country now, the rest of the civilized world giving them online.
Yep.
You could do your driver's permit, your passport, you could do all that online. And if they need you to come in for an appointment, they will schedule that appointment with you.
Well, I just paid my car insurance online. I didn't have to go into the insurance company to pay.
But
which is what I
exactly,
normally
and we
do.
need to get
I
their
paid it
government.
online.
But you see, if you decentralize and if you open up the system to functionality, you put scrutiny, and bubble and corruption can take place. Licensing office is the easiest thing to fix. But you have to totally stop what is happening there and restart something new. That you must say, from the 21st of January 2019, all transactions takes place, and you're going to have to fight with all of these unions that want to defend the mediocrity that allows corruption to take place, because that is the only reason and purpose to allow it. Bubble rampant through this country. It is a cancer that is metastasized to the bone. Our airline cannot ever make a profit. Our airport is impossible to run. Our sea bridge, our ports, the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago loses $1 billion a year. Loses. Singapore and Dubai have built their wealth on their ports. Our port loses $1 billion a year. Why? Corruption, mismanagement, deliberate. What was your word?
Deliberate incompetency.
Deliberate incompetency.
Because the purpose of any business operation is a profit. I mean, that's business
Have you ever seen the
101.
size of Singapore?
Isn't it business 101?
Have you ever seen the size of Singapore? Singapore is smaller than Trinidad.
Smaller than Trinidad.
And they are a wealthy first world nation. They move more shipping containers in an hour than we move in a year. You understand that?
But you said it before. Suppose the issues are fixed. What do they have to buy the vote?
And the only
Water.
party,
We're still using water as an election.
the
Gimme.
crime,
Suppose we
crime,
fix that.
crime, water, traffic. You see, they can't talk food prices because AMCO, HADCO, MASI, ADL, ADH, all of these people who imported money that given huge campaign finance donations to the two political parties don't want you to talk that food independence. They don't want to hear us talk about that. Food independence is a real necessity in this country. Food independence is the only independence of any value in the coming years. Because who own your food own you.
Correct.
If they could turn off your food supply,
Yep, you're in trouble. You have your tongue.
if they could turn off your food supply, the central and south food basket of this nation, we have thousands of farmers waiting for an opportunity to grow land. Entrepreneurial farming is the future. Not we trying to copy America with these mega farms. Those farms are to grow soy, wheat, and corn. Those farms are not to grow breadfruit, mango, guava, avocados, sapodilla.
Yeah.
That's a different type of farming. The Germans, the Dutch, the Swedish have mastered vertical farming. They're building buildings 10, 20, 30 stories
Yes.
up in the sky that growing food, that
yeah.
automated. You have a tray of scythe, 30 stories in the air, and you press a button on a computer and it brings it to you. You understand what we're talking about?
Yep.
That a lot of land. In Japan, we have parking problems. Furnace just opened a building with 1,000 spots. In Japan, there are parking facilities underground, fully automated, and on the surface, all you see is 2 car park spaces, one in, one out. And you pull up on the car park space, you pay your money, you get out your car and you go. And it stores it away, you have a chit.
Yes.
When you come back, you stick your chit in, it brings the car up to you. I mean, just those things that exist, just those things that exist should be able to tell us as a nation, your deliberate incompetency theory is correct. Somebody is benefiting in every way from all of these failures.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
It is. I mean, I was speaking to someone from South, and I told the person, I said, we have access to internet, we have access to television, where we see. So even if you have not traveled outside of Trinidad and Tobago,
Correct.
you are seeing what the world is doing.
Correct.
We're all on Facebook all day.
Yeah.
We're
That's-
seeing
that's
the
magic.
exact
That's
same
Photoshop.
examples
That's
Philip
lies.
has spoken
Those
about.
are lies.
We are seeing
Photoshop.
Singapore. We are
Hey,
seeing
Tony.
everything.
That's unbelievable.
So
Photoshop.
why are we so archaic? When my mother is 94, and when my mother was in her 20s, Cedros had a hospital. It now has, a healthcare center that sends you to Point, that sends you to San Fernando. So they have digressed in the
Digressed.
healthcare.
Yeah,
She had
yeah.
my
We
sisters
went
and
backwards in
brothers-
education.
My sisters have.
Michelle, do you know that this country up to the 70s and early 80s we had the highest standard of
Nice.
education in the Western world?
Yes, my
We went
sisters
backwards.
and brothers benefited from that.
We went backwards. There was no free this and free that. You had to work. One of my son's grandfathers is Justice Zainul Hussain. He was chairman of the Integrity Commission. And he told me his story about what it took for him to get to England to become a lawyer. And he used to shovel coal and play trumpet in a bar at night
Wow.
just to be able to live, to get through, to become a lawyer. And somebody said to me once, and it's a factor, if you give people things free, they don't value it.
Exactly. Yes.
And for a while there, the madness that was Gate, people was just signing up for courses and not showing up. But the school that owned the course, bill the state, get paid. But we had no measurable
Right.
impact on what was happening. We've been dumbing down as a society.
We sure have. I mean, my family is a direct result of the highest education Trinidad had to have. They left in the 60s, 70s. And at that point, Trinidad, my sister, I believe, was second in the country. My uncle, everyone went. By the time my family got to the States, the education level was so high, 2 years of university was granted to them.
Absolutely.
Because
we
they
used
were
to
so
leave
far
here.
advanced.
We used to leave here in Form 2 and go over there to the equivalent of Form 4 and Form 5. They used to skip them years
Right.
because it would be a waste of time to put them elsewhere. And again, we're just talking education. Let's talk agriculture and food production. It is a crime against humanity that the best cocoa in the world comes from Trinidad and we don't grow cocoa. It's a crime against humanity that the second hottest pepper in the world comes from Trinidad, and that is not an industry in Trinidad. It is a crime against humanity that the best honey on planet Earth is Toco honey, and that is not a massive industry. But we're looking to mash down Toco to make it a port.
A port.
We're gonna make a port, but the world don't need that. This is the country, this dot in the ocean. We have the only nylon pool in the world. That should be a wonder of the world. It should be celebrated. It's not. We killed the largest brain coral on planet Earth in Tobago. We killed it. We had the oldest old growth forest in the world in Tobago. We destroyed that. The reason the Environmental Management Authority exists, it was created to protect a forest that we now destroying to build a highway to Manzanilla. This is a country that boasts the largest pitch lake on planet Earth that we don't know where our money from that goes. Who gets the money? Everybody, when you ask on Facebook, the PNM and the UNC sycophants, ask Rowley, ask Kamala. I don't give a crap. Somebody answer. That's my money. I'm not playing politics with it. And they're so foolish with their nonsense. Blame Kamala, blame Rowley. But you're up to your waist in filth. Your children, you can't get matching shoes and socks for your children. You're hungry, you're suffering. And you're blaming Kamala and Rowley. Instead of holding them to account and making public officers do their job.
Jobs, yeah.
It is a level of insanity beyond comprehension that we continue to allow this to be our situation and our circumstance.
And on the Lake Asphalt website, there's no financial records from
Nowhere.
2007.
No.
I mean, I live in South. I have been asking the question. I've gone to several persons that work in that that industry.
But
There is
where
nothing
in the
available.
budget? Where in the
That-
budget? Where in the
nothing.
budget is it? I don't want to know that Kamala give it to the Chinese. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that Rowley give it to the Chinese. I want to see the document. Show us. This is, let me just introduce PEP Chairman, Felicia Holder. Join the conversation.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Tony and Philip, Janice, Misha.
Good morning, Felicia.
I drove across here and listened to you all and enjoy the fire that I'm getting this morning. And I mean, right along everything that you all are saying, we listened to the Prime Minister's address this week. We listened to the critiques, blame PNM, blame the UNC. And you wonder at what point either of them are going to ask, but if we both blaming both of them, doesn't that say that both of them could possibly
They
be the
failed.
problem?
Yeah.
The next step to that is this. If both of them wrong, and I choosing between two wrong, how wrong am I? How wrong am I? How foolish do I have to be?
And that's the thing, I'll be quick to say Trinbagonia, and somebody told me yesterday, we are the problem, where's we? And I said, okay, we understand that we are the problem, but at what point we're going to say,
Take responsibility then.
let's take responsibility for the fact that we have been consistently voting the same two corrupt banners. We quarrel, we say, oh God, this one thief, like you put that one. This one thief, like, we have been responsible for that. And we have to now take responsibility for the fact that, like he said, if we vote them in, we have a responsibility to vote them out. This morning I started to write a status and I stopped. And I started to say, how can you be preaching, break the cycle? We're going back to one side of the cycle. And it would have been hitting some people directly because I wanted to tag them too. I wanted to ask them, I spent a year and a half watching you guys preach. We need to break the cycle, but you have to understand a cycle, it consists of two things, and you keep going back to them. So when are you as independent thinkers, Stephen Reeves?
Call the name. Listen.
Stephen Reeves, as an independent, are you going to vote?
When God Christopher, who was just fired by the UNC and the PNM contractocracy, when God Christopher, who want to pretend that he is somebody that's standing up for the people of Morva, that want to go and say that the only choices to vote between is PNM and UNC, he is leading the people of Morva astray. Because for 56 years, we've had Morva, Beetham, Laventille, and Silots at the bottom of the socio-economic ladder, and not one government. I remember when I was in the Congress of the People, Prakash Ramada asked me, if we were to make you a minister, because they ask everybody, what ministry you want? I said, make me the minister of Morva, Beetham, Laventille, and Silots. Gary Griffith knew that we have to deal with crime at the level where the crime happens, not in the gun. The gun in your hand is a symptom of the crime. When the gangsters get in state contracts to paint HDC building and they're using to buy gun, that is the crime there.
Yeah.
If you take the money away, and I thought the same thing, Morva, Beetham, Laventille, and Silots need a massive social intervention. We need to redevelop these communities. If they have no jobs, make jobs.
Exactly.
Give hope. What about hope? There's no hope in those communities. I mean, they have been neglected, and like you said, we're just going back and forth with no resolution for these people. My heart goes out to these people. When you're coming in from south and you have to pass Laventille, it is heart-wrenching to see a country of this wealth. And this is what brings you into Port of Spain, poverty. There are areas in
You
South
drive past a
Leeward
line of shacks. You drive past the Labas.
Yes.
And then you drive past to the foreigners listening to me on social media who may not know what the Labas is. It's Trinidad's largest dump. That we drive through the dump. And then a line of shacks built out into the road that is Silots. And then Hyatt magically appears. Out of all this madness, Hyatt. Up in the sky. No, but tell me.
Yes. That is
The
so
people
true.
of Silots not seeing that.
Week.
Nobody people of Silots not seeing that.
But that's the
Smell.
line of
Smell.
literally across the road. That is the line of definition. You stay here, I stay there.
Stay in your
This is
lane.
not
Stay in your lane.
You are going to stay there, and Hyatt's going to build unoccupied, but we're going to make it look
Because
That's now to keep.
Michelle, the French and the Chinese under Manning, they saw us a mile away. When they saw $100 oil, they knew. When Trinidad had its first boom, they party Eric Williamson. They fed that man. Eric didn't know which way was up. Blow smoke up that man's ass and build. People forget. When they was building Mount Hope Hospital, they inflate this massive sealed environment and built the hospital in an air. I said, what the hell we building here, boy? The same way they build Intel, where they make the chips, dust free. We build that ghetto complex that is Mount Hope, built in that. Because if it's 200 million and we can make it 500 million, it's more money to spread around. It's more kickback and corruption dollars to spread around.
That is what the problem is.
Yes,
That is
yes.
where the hemorrhaging lies.
But the problem,
Yes,
no, but the problem, Tony, the problem is yours. If your child belly swell for gas and hungry, can't eat, and you're lining up to defend this foolishness.
Tell me this thing, boy.
Your children still have mud between their toes in Rapai village, but you're defending UNC.
Tell
Had
me
office
this
for
thing.
2 terms.
Tell me this thing, and you want to
because
see
we're
it.
not seeing past the race. We're brainwashed by the race politics.
You raised some issues about the United States. I was driving and I was listening. I was thinking, plenty of people don't know that there's something in the United States called the New Deal. A lot of the infrastructure that was built in the United States was built by Roosevelt, and it was built to end their first real recession. People enjoy so much right now
connected all these different
Absolutely.
states
No.
efficiently.
And the point is, you're right, and you don't make a make-work scheme to tell people, go and paint every coconut tree and every big stone on the side of the road white. You make a plan. You make a plan. I see Rowley and Clyde Weatherhead arguing about who built the Churchill Roosevelt Highway and where it reached and where it stopped and what was the brand and what was the name.
Yeah.
Miss me with that. Miss me with that. Miss me with it. It have nothing to do with hungry people now.
That's right.
Jobs is job one.
Yes.
Jobs is job one. If you have 30,000 people working in fast food companies in this country, you're failing.
That's right.
We are creating a slave wage labor mentality in this country that needs to be brought to an end. India, Singapore, Dubai. You talk about Qatar.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Qatar?
Yeah.
Go and look at the countries that own all the IT patents and chips. You want to take the IT capital of the Caribbean that was built in Wallerfield to go and make rims. They treated these people in Trinidad and Tobago like slaves. They literally treated them like labor. You supposed to go up there and watch. I know a little boy. I know a young boy from Westridge Villas in Diego Martin. I can't remember his name right now. Write an app. Write an app in Trinidad and Tobago. Wherever you are in the world, where's the party? No, I mean, this is what he know. But where's the party anywhere in the world? No.
I'm glad you talk about that same app thing because I know another individual as well, local, who also created an app, and this app got some award, and I'm going to try to source that information pertaining towards that. But it's a learning app for children in the kindergarten into the primary level.
We have brilliant
Listen,
people in
and
this
is
country.
a Trinidadian who gained a pattern on a particular app that is now being used around the world. That is our people, that is our
And that's
skill
the
set.
point, Tony. If the Maruga scorpion pepper is the second hottest pepper in the world, if 90% of all Maruga scorpion pepper is used in pepper spray
Pepper
canisters,
spray, yes.
why aren't we dominating the pepper spray industry in the world?
That's
$1
right.
billion market. That right there alone is $1 billion market, boy.
Every 3 months, every police officer in the States have to throw away the one on his belt. Every 3 months it expires.
Because correct,
Every 3 months it expires. Have a lifespan, right?
shelf life.
So every 3 months they have to throw it away. You think what we could do with that? Growing pepper, a complete product life cycle. If you watch the history, the story of Steve Jobs, he's telling you, controlling all aspects of the product life cycle from supply to sale, that's where the money is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where the money is.
Yes. It's
We-
a no-brainer.
We are a massive consumer of tomato ketchup in this country. But our tomato ketchup that we consume in Trinidad is made with tomato paste imported and cornstarch imported. It's a combination of tomato paste and cornstarch. We could have used Trinidad sugar and we could have used Trinidad tomato and established brands. The market that we're supposed to play in coming out of this country, we will never compete with the big guns. But we could have carved a niche for ourselves. Quality. There is a consumption market in the billions of people. If everybody in this country was sewing Levi jeans, everybody, round the clock, 24/7, we couldn't get half of 1% of that market.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So if you wanted to put the people to work, but you see the foolishness Keith Rowley come to tell them, but the price of oil and the price of gas is massa bull and massa cow.
Yeah.
But what about if you open the fence and you let massa bull and massa cow go free?
Yeah.
Move the labas. Keith, how you diversify the economy? Move the labas. Create the largest commercial industrial duty-free zone in the country, in the Caribbean. Invite companies from all over the world, whatever you're making. Once it requires humans to work it,
Yeah.
come and set up in Trinidad. We will give you rent-free, electricity-free. I'll give you internet-free 10 years. Tax-free. Put my people to work. Your goal should be 150,000 people in Mova, Bitam, Lavatel, and Silots. I will not rest until they are all earning beyond minimum wage.
Yes, man.
Yes.
Say that again.
No, but I tell
Say it
you,
again.
press rewind and play again.
Say it again. Oh, that again,
No,
Jack.
come on, man. They hear me. You tell them, but that's a fact. Above minimum wage. Minimum wage is not supposed to be something people are aspiring to.
That's
Minimum
right.
wage is what you're avoiding.
Avoiding,
We know that that's the ground. I don't want to fall on the ground.
That is right.
A vision without a vision, the people perish. We've had not one single government in our history that have enunciated a plan for the people. And the Progressive Empowerment Party tells you, bullshit aside, give the people hope and opportunity and get out their way. You wouldn't have to worry about crime plan and traffic plan. All you need to do is give the people a chance at a life. As you said, functionally capable people in picking apple in Canada.
Yeah.
Because they can't get a job in their own land. Go and be a slave. I'm telling you, that's slave labor.
Yeah.
If you're picking something, pick Julie Mango for export from your own land.
That's right, and get top dollar.
Pick avocado.
Yeah.
Pick breadfruit.
Yeah.
Pick soursop.
That's
Them
right.
14. The world buying before you plant it. When is the crop? The crop is 5 years from now. We're taking all. Pomsite. Popo. You can't grow enough pomsite and popo to sell. We have fertile farmland in this country pushing up razor grass. When you think about this and the deliberate incompetency, the fact that this country was set up to fail by its governments, the people of this country need to wake the hell up and see what they've been getting for their vote.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. That is the message right there. Know your worth, Trinidad and Tobago. Know your true worth. The life we've lived for the last 50, 60 years, that is not it. It is not. Really, 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 it is not. It's just the information you need in Trinidad. But the next step is yours. You have to take the interest, take the responsibility in wanting that change and wanting that betterment for you, for your family, and the generations to come with your bloodline, with your name. That is what we're trying to create here, a level of longevity for our nation and the citizens of this nation, man. Trinidad is a no-brainer, no-brainer. We're doing it too long, and that is the bottom line. 56 years is too long, man. We have too many other countries got independence same time, and they're first world nations today. Their people have open opportunity today, and we are still catching our rear end and still living day to day, looking to try to find the next hustle. That no, we can't be the richest economy in the Western Hemisphere, third richest economy in the Western Hemisphere, and our citizens dealing this, man. No, Trinidad, do not accept it in any way, form, or fashion. Progressive Empowerment Party is bringing better for you. And if you have questions again, come down to 19 Stanmore Avenue, hear for yourself, 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Talk to the executives, talk to the people who are involved, ask the questions and know for fact what is your true right and your true direction that you need to go to forge betterment for yourself and for your family. Listen, we are not trying to shove anything down your throat, you know. It's for you, the citizen, to make that conscious decision, to say to yourself, here what, we really want to know what is going on. We're really interested to see what betterment.
Tony, a gear is changed when you change a gear.
Well, it's true.
A gear is changed, Michelle.
It's
You
true.
say you see it in America. I tell you, New York City was the crime capital of the world.
Yeah.
And look, the cleanup, the
New York City is the #1 tourist destination in the world now.
Yeah, the cleanup, the act. The cleanup.
So you trying to tell me the #1 crime capital, murder capital of the world was New York City? Every superhero comic, every Marvel, all of that, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, all that is New York City. Metropolis and Gotham is New York City they're talking about. All those shows that we watch, Law and Order, and all those shows in New York City they're talking about.
You're absolutely correct.
It's a vision for the people. You have to have a vision for the people. Let the farmers farm. Let the sportsmen play their sports. Look at Janice. Janice is a brilliant writer. I mean, I'm telling you this. She is a coach and a motivational speaker. If I told Janice right now, write a book and we'll get it published, I would know where in this country to go about doing that. I would know where.
No, but you're right. But Trinidad and Tobago also, don't forget, listen again, we open our, the Progressive Empowerment Party is having our 2nd annual celebration and the South Regional Office grand opening.
Tell them.
So most definitely come down. It's happening on Saturday, January 19, 2019 from 6 p.m. It's 137 Manahambri Road. This is St. Madeline.
Madeline. Yeah.
Saint
You're
Madeline.
freshwater Yankee. You're freshwater Yankee.
Madeline.
Not like Michelle, she's a genuine Yankee. You know?
Yeah, what's with that man? I'm hungry. And you're coming with some after that.
No, it's some big words, Palmyra, all kind of thing. I say,
No, I'm telling
man,
you.
just
Anyway,
follow the WhatsApp.
But Trinidad and Tobago, definitely, especially the Southlands, man, come and be a part of. There's going to be the ceremony and an anniversary toast. There's going to be a ribbon cutting for the office opening in itself, live refreshments, live entertainment, secure parking. Again, Trinidad and Tobago.
Jumping.
This is for you. This is for you. No questions asked.
Well
We are
said.
bringing everything to the table for you to scrutinize, for you to see, ask the questions and know for fact. Let's take this country
Tony,
where it needs
and we have
go.
to explain to the people listening and wondering why we're not opening the phone lines. We have technical difficulties.
yes.
Some of y'all might be hearing that we have technical difficulties today.
Yes, we do.
So we can't open the phone lines today and we
We
apologize.
apologize.
We apologize for that, yeah?
Yes. No
Felicia, Michelle.
I think one of the things I was thinking about this week is that we as citizens, we like to look out. We like to look out and say America is so nice and the streets, and we go over there and we're amazed, and we come back and we talk about I went to the mall and I got a bus and it came at 6 when it was scheduled for 6, and I went to eat and nobody tried to rob me. And we come back here and we come back to the field and we complain and we about immigration, and then we just get back into the and one of the things we don't realize is that what they have outside here, we could have had,
Yeah.
is not lost. And I look at the fact that we have people who say, no, yeah, I could tolerate it, but then how long can we tolerate it for? You can't just live a life where half of the year you expect.
One of the co-owners of the Econo car, a fella named Richard Jardine. Richard has talked to his workers. I came years now dealing with them. Richard is telling workers, we want it nicer, fix it and clean it like America. Like America. They understand that. They understand. Don't
You see that right here? That is what is
fix it like America.
That is what is sad for our citizens. For you to have a man that gets tea on a dime, boy. That right there is the proof to show we have a broken mentality within the population of this nation, boy.
But
Really,
what about the
really,
citizens that get off the plane and immediately when they get off the plane in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, they adapt to the
But
American
of
way of
course.
efficiency. They adapt to the customer
Line up.
service. They line up.
Line
they're
up.
obedient.
Skip
They're-
line.
They don't break any laws. These are the same.
throw the KFC box out the corner.
Yeah.
Throw it now.
Tell me.
Fling.
Don't that take the chance now. Never. Caribbean Airlines or American Airlines.
Any of the people trying to call in on my cell phone, we're using it as the camera for the live feed, so do not call. We cannot take calls today. Continue.
Like strong brace there.
No, because I get
No
one
calls,
person
right?
called 5 times just now, and I'm trying to interrupting the live feed. Yeah, but seriously, drink and drive in New York
Tell
now.
me.
Yeah, boy.
Tell me now, man.
Click it.
What?
Seatbelt lock, click it.
As soon as we get off the plane, we are able to assimilate the class of this land. We are the top citizens. We are not second-class citizens. We are first-class citizens in this land, man. We have all the right in the world to ask the questions and to ensure we have the level of accountability and transparency that is deserved to us, man. That is deserved to us. You cannot have people in office talking about budget, spending billions upon billions of dollars.
$140 million a day to run this. I ask
Tell
a
me
question.
now, boy.
Does this country,
Yeah.
Michelle, you've seen first world nations. I mean, all of us, but you've seen it. Does Trinidad feel like somebody's running it?
No.
Like somebody has a plan?
And that's the problem. Having worked in the cruise line, I just wanted to give you an example. Even when you go to the other islands, you can see the money being spent. You can feel the money being spent from tourism because that is their key source of income. I mean, I went to Barbados last year, and somehow I had TT on me. She said, "Girl, we don't take that money here," and it held me aback. You go to Jamaica, and as you were saying with the nylon pool, Jamaica capitalizes its tourism only off of Dunn's River Falls. That is the key selling point of Jamaica. Why aren't we doing the same with Tobago? Trinidad to me feels like it's a very poor country.
Michelle, Tobago is supposed to be the #1 tourist destination on planet Earth. There is no country anywhere in this world that has
What
the
Tobago has.
bounty. Janice,
Yes.
point that has become synonymous.
For Tobago. That's right.
No, but synonymous with
Worldwide.
worldwide, with tropical travel. That they want to go
Worldwide.
to a Caribbean destination. I told a guy, he had come here to supply us in a company that I was working with, and he told me, so he took me out to dinner. He suppliers just take you out to dinner. He said, I'm living the American dream, I'm living the American dream. I said, so I listened to him and he boasted about all the stuff that he's doing. And me and my country, I managed to defend my country. So when he done, I say, what's the last line in the American dream? He said, what's that? I say, retire to the Caribbean. I say, I start here.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
good
great
story.
point because it is true. The last line is that you
Love
retire.
We live where people
live in
vacation.
here.
Exactly.
We
And
live where
want to
people
retire.
want to retire and spend the rest of their life and die even.
And
People
we
talk about they
listen,
die and
yes.
spend my ashes in the Caribbean. See, because this is a place to live and die.
Exactly.
So how do we get people to love this country? Because that's what it is,
Love of country.
That's what, you can't tell them country first, and they don't love it. They say all the time, somebody will make the time for something that matters to them. How do we get them to treat Trinidad and Tobago as my home? I love this place. I will fight for it to get it.
But is it a chicken and an egg situation though? The reason why
Which
I don't love it
comes
is
first,
because
the
it's
chicken or the
crappy,
egg?
and it's crappy because you don't love it enough to fight and stand up
I
to.
see all the nonsense that is Trinidad every day. I deal with it more than most. People message me and call me and show me and complain about everything. And I wake up every morning loving this country.
Yeah.
The only thing that could get me out of Trinidad and Tobago, I tell Trinidad and Tobago this, if the PNM or the UNC win the next election, I gone.
Yeah.
The balance of my life will be in a first world nation. And who vex loss? I want the buses to run on time. I don't want to drive.
I agree.
I want to be able to put my iPod in my ears, listen to Melody David, rather sit down on a bus and watch the place go by.
Yeah.
I don't have to drive.
Yeah.
But if I don't have a car and I step outside to go to an appointment, how I sure I get in there?
Exactly.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Yeah, I beg somebody for a ride.
Exactly.
Thank God I'm not living in Forest Bar. Michelle, tell them about South. Tell them what's happening. What we expect. Felicia, you're chairing and coordinating this event. What should the people expect on the 19th from 6 p.m. at that event?
Well, to begin with, they're getting a South office, which the people have been literally begging us for.
Overdue.
Give ourselves a round of applause. Listen, I am watching the live feed and I'm seeing people asking still, when are we coming to South? This should be on the mouth of everybody in Trinidad and Tobago right now. The
Pep coming South.
The 19th of January at 6 p.m.
Michelle waiting for that key, Michelle is the head of the South office. Once they get that key, the South region.
People are asking where exactly on Manahami Road. Listen, you cannot miss
A pep event.
a pep event.
It orange.
From the banners,
It
the
orange.
people pulling
Just
up,
look for the
look
orange.
for us.
Yeah.
Look for the orange because we will be there creating history. I don't think any political party that has started from scratch, from the ground like we have, has accomplished and reached as far as we have. And I mean, I gave away a piece of my speech that I have planned for the 19th, but it really is a very proud and historical moment for this movement, opening that South Regional Office. And I really look forward to meeting all the people from the Southland who say, we want all and we need all in South. I'm seeing the response on Facebook. I'm getting the emails on Pep Trinbago. The calls are coming through on 3474 PEP. Keep calling, keep making your RSVP limited and reserve seating available. So if you want to get your secure parking, send us a RSVP because we want you there and we want you to meet the fastest growing, sexiest political party in history.
Michelle, tell us. The South caretakers, they ready for this? They ready to start the responsibility? Because now, once this launch and you get your office, because we want to hand you that key, once you get that office and the South Regional Office open and those 10 constituencies now go live, your caretakers and your shadow MPs, they ready?
We are ready, Philip. I'm ready. I'm waiting for that key because after you give me that key, you won't be seeing me. I am here, and the
Until
South
we come out.
caretakers
Until
and
we come
shadow
out.
MPs are here to represent the South. The office is very monumental
Symbolic,
in
yeah,
terms of symbolic.
it's symbolic.
We are here to serve. We are going to start serving you prior to even getting in office. We have been in the trenches. Anthony was with us in St. Madeleine. We were in literally hill climbing in the trenches, and we are here to hear your issues, address your issues, fight for your issues. We are not a party of talk. We are a party of action. So please come, please show your face. For those of you that don't know what PEP is about, come and hear and listen and ask questions. We are all going to be there to answer
Anthony,
the
people
questions.
who asking these stupid questions, see Felicia this morning got a question on Facebook about somebody say, how y'all feel after that devastating defeat in the local election? And I want to answer, say, you know, this is not my chair there, but I want to say, you know, Rowley get beat so bad in Tobago, he end up in Trinidad. His first election he run for is in Tobago. Tobago spit him out straight across the sea.
I think like Rowley, his followers might have a bout of amnesia because they seem to forget a lot as it
No, Janice, say history important. When you're
Very
talking third party, UNC's a third party.
Yes.
UNC's a third party vomited out of the NAR. That's where it come from. When Pandey and Robbie fall out, and Pandey say, I'm taking my Indians and go. That's the history of the politics.
Yeah.
Gone in Arangwe Savannah with Club 88, remember? And create a UNC.
Right.
When the PNM was the opposition to the NAR government. Don't forget that.
Yes.
Don't
Yes,
forget
they
that.
They forget.
Don't forget the UNC is a third party. So to the UNC sycophants and talking heads, give me talk. Kamala come from NAR and NAR come from PNM. All you know all your roots. All your shirt must be yellow, eh? But all your socks and drawers red.
Booyah!
My generation, we might be able to remember all of those facts, but
That's
we
correct.
can certainly feel the effects of what years of bad politics, bad governance,
Has done to
mismanagement, theft, corruption,
Yep.
kleptocracy, like we call it, nepotism. We see how it has impacted.
It's an idiocracy.
Indeed, indeed. We feel the effects because as a young person, I have to say it is very disappointing to live in a country that you hear is so wealthy,
Yes.
but you're seeing and experiencing. Listen, like that what we were talking about earlier, driving into Port of Spain. Automatically, when I reach Maritime flyover, I wind up my glass, because you know. If it's a certain time in the evening to expect that
Women must be terrified to drive through Beta.
I am terrified. I mean, and the other
And that's
thing,
unfair
there
to
was
the
an
women,
incident-
and that's
It
unfair
is
to
in the
Beta.
I
day.
shut down on the beaten once as a young woman. 4 of us girls driving in a car going to a party. 11 o'clock in the night, car just stalled in the middle of the beaten. And all of us, you just hear silence in the car.
No, but that's unfair to the women, and that's unfair to the Beta. Both parties.
No, it is.
It's
But
unfair to both parties because it shouldn't be that area should be so stigmatized by
that's
poverty
right.
and crime, and it shouldn't be that any Trinidadian should have any fear to be anywhere in this country.
That's
indeed.
right.
I always think of a plan of action if I do stall. And believe it or not, how many times do I come into port?
Get out, stretch, and run.
Every time I think of a plan of action, I look around. If you stall, what are you doing?
I have to say a police car pulled up right behind us and they came out in time because he said there's some guys across the road coming to...
This gonna help.
They-
How you know that wasn't gonna help?
Listen, I just go with what the officers say, but indeed, there should be no place in this beautiful country that you should have to go and say, oh, that place is
No,
afraid,
but you
this one I
see,
could go
but it's
in.
a function of the deliberate incompetency. When a cruise ship park up in Tobago, so the Galleon's Passage can't come from Trinidad. So your child asthma medicine in the Galleon's Passage and you have to wait the next 24 hours. You have no chance. You have no chance. You have staff on your property, you're building a house, you have clay blocks on the back of a truck on the pass and you can't get it.
Can't get it.
This is what we're talking about, that it is a madness now. You could imagine this country with a cruise ship industry. 6 ships in a small island. I can't remember if it's Aruba or St. Martin. St. Martin. 6 ships. 6 ships. 5,000 people. One of the members, in fact, we have 2 members.
In 6 hours.
We have 2 members of the senior executive of this party that have been trained in the cruise ship industry, Michelle Davis and Sean Sinarine. And both of them understand moving parts and deadlines. You can't play the fool. That ship leaving the port at the time they say they're leaving the port, whether the food reach on board or not. And if there are no food to feed the people, somebody getting fired.
We're leaving you there. But that day that I saw that video, and that's what I said, wow, that could be Tobago. That is
But
30,000
Michelle,
people. And the average crew member, speaking as operating on the ship, spends 100 US in
I
each
tell
port. The
them.
average crew member,
I
not
tell them that.
guest.
Not guest.
So the
Yeah.
amount of US that fluctuates, I personally
But you
have
coming,
spent thousands
but
in
you
St.
coming out
Martin
to buy
while
your
working on
straw
the ship.
hat and your Bermuda shorts and your leather slippers.
And
So
your calabash thing.
all of that. You don't want more high rise. You leave where you living. You're coming to see. Show me mud ground. Oh God, I eating a banana leaf.
Yes.
You wanna post that on Facebook? Look at eating on a
experience.
breadfruit leaf. And you're right. Jamaica know how to
They
capitalize on that.
capitalize on the raw materials.
Jamaica know how to
There's
capitalize
no
on that.
infrastructure, the
Nothing
raw
to fool
material.
people. My son just went Jamaica. I get a Exodus pressed in Bob Marley Museum. But they know this is a country that have David Rudder. That is our Bob Marley.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
We
And I'm glad you say that.
but I am telling
I'm glad you
you,
say
I
that.
am telling you, we nasty by deliberate design. We have no clue. We have no understanding. You're talking about 30,000 people touched down in Tobago. The population of Tobago is 50,000 people. So you just double the population.
Just so. That in itself would outweigh.
So you could imagine you driving a taxi and 19 people asking you for a drop to Pigeon Point. By the time you reach Pigeon Point, you're charging 400 US. Because supply and demand.
That's right.
It is estimated with the ship business and the cruise line passengers. It is estimated that the ports of call earn up to $1 million in terms of how it impacts a country's economy. Just a
Michelle,
mineral ship.
a cruise ship industry, and I've given them it for free, you know. A cruise ship industry, because we've discussed this at length, is partnerships for marinas. That's basically it. That when the monarch of the sea pull up, it ain't pull up to line up. It pull up to its marina.
Marina, that's right.
It have its own offices, its own immigration, its own customs. They paying for that. 5,000 people jump out there, right there. They have the little mini mall inside of there. So you could imagine doing joint ventures with all those Carnival, Monarch, Princess of the Sea, Disney. You do with all of them joint ventures, local and international. You put out the money for the marina, you own 25 cents on every dollar. That is real money.
And again, that's jobs.
But think
This
about
is
the jobs.
for Port
Think
of
about the
Spain,
jobs. Think about the
for all
jobs.
these
This is not
areas.
draw of water and hew of wood. This is you living in Tobago. You buy yourself a nice little limo, and that is your business.
Yeah.
Jacko's limos.
Yes.
And you're making your money and you're living well. And Tobagonians are different than Trinidadians. The Tobagonian people have their pride. Eh? When they say they come in to do the job, they come in to do the job, you know. Tobagonians prefer, I tell you, I talked to a man 20 years ago, I keep quoting him. He had on 2 different color slipper, but he own land. He said, I don't have to impress you.
That's right.
Dynamite work. And we need that. We've broken them. We've broken their spirit. People in Tobago, we can't even identify who owns what piece of land in Tobago. That is a big issue in Tobago.
But again, that and all have its own agenda.
Bubble!
That's
Bubble!
right. That's right. But
Bubble!
them in them high places know what they want to do with that land. They're not marking land all over Tobago.
Tony, I'm telling you something. Tobago being outside of the hurricane belt, cruise ship industry, there's a new
Will be
type.
second to none.
But there's a new type of cruising taking place. Is the next level down where people jump on a cruise ship and go to an island destination that parks up there for 5 days or 7 days. So that's the hotel.
Yeah.
It's like a floating
It's a cruise
hotel.
ship. Yeah.
And hold it. So yeah, I know I could go and eat till my belly busts on the cruise ship, but I eating curry crab and dumpling by Miss Jean. Because the cruise ship don't have it don't have that. You understand?
Yeah.
And we're just talking, so let's diversify this economy in 5 minutes. That you just built 9-10 marinas. So 50,000 people could touch down in Tobago in a week.
Yeah.
Immediately Tobago has become independent, financially self-sustaining. Trinidad, you could imagine we have a problem where a cruise ship park up in Trinidad, so a supply ship can't come. That's madness. The entire coast of Trinidad and Tobago from Point Lisas to Point Ape could be marinas. Drench those harbors. That easy to do. Them ships coming and sucking soil from the bottom like a vacuum cleaner. That is how Dubai built all those islands that they built. Those things now knocking dog all over the world. Nobody ain't building no islands. Let us drench from Point Lisas to Pointe-a-Pierre and build our own garbage island to sort, sift, and organize. That is how China and Japan doing it. China is on a target to reduce their carbon footprint. All of this is just planning.
Yep.
All of this is just planning. But if you move the port of Port of Spain out of Port of Spain, you cut the traffic in Port of Spain in half. 90% coming off that ship, leaving Port of Spain on choky little Wrightson Road, have to pass 19 traffic lights to reach where it's going. Why is it here? It going Point Lisas. Send the ship Point Lisas. Send the ship Point Lisas.
Basic common
Message
sense.
Send the ship Point Lisas. So, and listen, and you're talking about now, let Tobago be the tourist capital of the Caribbean. Let Trinidad shipping turn around. Let us just get in. What people don't understand about shipping is this. If I ship a case of juice, or a container of juice from Trinidad, and I want my container of juice to go Australia, there are no ships leaving Trinidad going to Australia.
Correct.
So my container is put on a ship going Miami. And my container, the computer knows my container is coming off this ship that is arrived in Miami, and it is going on a ship that's going to the UK.
That's right.
And it comes off in the UK to go on a ship that's going to Australia. That's how shipping works.
Yes.
So my container went on 3 or 4 different ships to get to there. Why is Trinidad not a stop?
Right.
Trinidad is properly located outside of the hurricane belt between southeast, south, central, and North America. We're in spitting distance from the Panama Canal where 900% of everything passes.
And that gives you access to the whole Pacific.
All we need here is a port the size of Singapore's port. From Point Lisas to Pointe-a-Pierre. Listen to what I'm telling you. Shipping and shipping turnaround. Shipping, we have an airport. We could have people come here, the crews that operate these ships, the cruise ship, the shipping ships, they stay on the ship for a shift, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, and then they are swapped out with another crew. There are island ports of call where I come off the ship here and go home. I head to Piako and I fly to South Africa, I fly to Japan, I fly to wherever. And the new crew is waiting to come and take control of the boat. If you ever saw that show with Tom Hanks, where the pirates seized the ship, his crew was going to take over from a crew that was coming off. Because when you build a shipping ship and it launch, it don't stop shipping.
It's on the water,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
For the duration of its lifespan, it's doing that cycle. Why is Trinidad not a stop for all of that? That will earn us hundreds of millions of US dollars. We could then be an outfitter, a supplier. Why don't we have a massive marine university? We again outside of the hurricane belt. Why is Trinidad not the #1 place to store pleasure craft and marine craft, yachts? Because there is a sailing season and then there is a mothball season. For the mothball season, why is Trinidad and Tobago not #1? People will fly people here. I know people. I had a partner, Norm Wagner. His brother came here to build the Methanex plant in Point Lisas. Norm Wagner job, this is all he does. People call him to fly him to go and pick up their boat, wherever it is, and bring it to them. And he's motor it or sail it or whatever to get the boat to them. That's his job. Because wealthy people don't have to come to Trinidad to get a boat if they want the boat in wherever.
Now they have a-
But you understand what I'm trying to
they have
say?
a full crew.
We ain't touch pitch. We ain't touch oil and gas. We talking about outside Trinidad and Tobago, cruise ship, shipping turnaround, build a marine university. If you built a marine university in Chaguaramas, we told them that since 2010. Build a marine university in Chaguaramas and provide the finances for people who go to that university and come out with degrees in sail rigging, shipbuilding, boat hull design, boat engine engineering.
That's right, yeah.
Those are services in massive demand. There are thousands of people who live on their sailboats.
Correct.
They want to come to Trinidad, but we brutalize them and send them on their way.
Yeah.
They would gladly come and tie up here.
I want to sell my house now and buy a damn road.
But we just want a bad talk. You see, we want a bad talk them, and I'm just saying to you, that just the marine, we on the outskirts, Tobago cruise ship, Trinidad shipping, turn around marine craft, let us stall the Caribbean island territory outside of the hurricane belt. Jesus. How stupid did Eric Williams, George Chambers, Robbie, Manning, Pandey, Kamla, and Rowley have to be to not understand that before it even reach inside the country, it could be earning billions of dollars? How stupid did they have to be? And how stupid are we that we continue to vote for that nonsense? We ain't talk oil, gas, pitch yet. We ain't talk about Janice's keep bringing it up, $1.5 billion Mexico make it. You were talking about tourism. In Canada, to become a waiter and a waitress in a hotel, you know, a 5-star hotel, you're making tens of thousands of dollars, US dollars. Make us a doctor, school loans as a waiter and a waitress. Listen, the truth of the matter is, and I will never forget deliberate incompetency. It is deliberate. It is designed to fail. We've enslaved and dumbed down our people. We've made our education system dysfunctional. So our people come out of school stupid. Bright people not taking this. A critical thinking country not listening to Rowley and his nonsense, that slideshow.
Ridiculous.
Trinidad, but you know what? When you look, plenty people tune him out, you know. That means they wake up. When you look at the numbers on social media, it was embarrassing.
Look at the comments and all that was on there. Right? Because you have, like I say, regular people waking up and asking the questions. They are asking the questions. The people are becoming awoken. And again, is why mainstream media will always insist at this point to try to block us as much as possible, because they're in fear for the actual information to come out into the public space for the people on a national level. There would not be a UNC or PNM if
You're right.
something would ever.
If we had intelligent voting, there would not be a UNC.
But Tony, we just literally talked 20 minutes of solutions to fixing this country. 20 minutes we spoke, and we barely even touched the surface. We barely even scratched the surface. And even if you do believe that there could be a third option, okay, that's your belief. We just gave you so many ideas. Why aren't the PNM or the UNC doing this? And
No,
we
they
say-
have to take it first and reword it so it will make it look as though it comes from them.
Okay, and all right, you take it now and you do that. But why hasn't this been done?
Janice jaded, boy. That was the most cynical comment. She even look up from the phone. That was the most cynical comment I ever heard.
No, but it's true. It's true. They just don't seem to have the wherewithal to come up with the ideas. You know, and there's no kind of respect from the PM.
You think it's lack of a wherewithal, or you think they just don't give a damn about the people,
Don't
Janice?
give a damn.
They don't give a damn right
Don't give
now.
a damn. It's 56 years, man. What you
How
telling
much
me?
degree they have in that
But
parliament?
there's what saying.
How much degree?
What you telling me 56
Michelle,
years past?
they're touring the world. The man who owned the station, Robert Amar, every time he travels, he come back here and open something that he see. That is how it's done.
Well, they're
To-
going for healthcare abroad.
Tony Robbins
Perfect
say,
example.
Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. We can learn.
Yes.
Nah, not us.
No.
Our
That's
politician.
like a blind. What was the movie? Bird
Bird
Box.
Box.
Trinidad is-
Everybody.
It's a 56-year movie called
Yeah,
version of the Bird Box. Yeah, serious.
We're talking, we
Very
try,
true.
and the blindfold is to hide me from what we supposed to know that is due to us.
Tony, 7,000 children under the age of 16 are failing out of our education system this year. Those 7,000 children are going to become fodder for gang violence and criminality as they strive to find a way to survive and live a life. And there is nobody talking about that. It didn't make its way to Rowley's sideshow. He didn't have a pie chart or a graph for them. We have so many people living below the poverty line. There are estimations of 700,000 people. It is diametrically, it is almost lined up parallel to the amount of people in this country that we believe are functionally illiterate, victims of that same education system. That they come out of school and they graduate, a certificate mill is how Morgan Job, Dr. Morgan, your house movement. We've had people ringing the alarm bell for decades. But the difference between them and the Progressive Empowerment Party is we have social media. So that Guardian, Express, TV6 and CNC3 don't control our conversation. We have social media. But more importantly, we have a commitment to this country that is almost, Janice, driven and focused to a point is almost a fault that we're not accepting defeat.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, hear that? Trinidad, we coming, you know. Believe it.
I don't think they expected this though, Philip. They didn't expect this little party that come out of
But
nowhere
that's it,
to
you see,
take.
we start out little, yes, but as the days go by, you have people getting the information they need, and people are piling
I am
on.
watching the people who are supporting the Progressive Empowerment
piling
Party. I
on.
watch a lady named Evelyn Boyce. I will never forget that woman's name. Evelyn Boyce. I tell her go to the head of the class because Evelyn makes so much sense. People have been saying, what we go put? What we go put? If it's not the PNM. And Evelyn said, listen, we don't have to worry about that anymore. We have the PEP. They have go out and vote. I almost word for word I
that's
remember
good.
this woman because she's
Give me goosebumps there, boy.
Yeah.
the woman clearly elderly, 70s. If you look at her, they had to stereotype and say that this granny is this PNM. For stepping out and standing up and understanding that I don't have to be black or Indian to understand to not understand that I just deserve better as a citizen
right.
of the
And
country.
you have to add this, Janice, and we have to start adding this to the conversation. PNM and UNC supporters, we all came from a party. We all had a political past. We're not judging you.
Exactly.
Your home is the Progressive Empowerment Party. You don't need to jump through any hoops. We are asking you no questions. Pull up, show up as a Trini. I want better.
The bad education, the bad healthcare. Don't we all have to be subjected to that same thing? So why are we voting on race? Why are we voting on that primary factor when we're all experiencing the same issues? The same issues. You have somebody from Westmoreland and Cedros have to drive on this same road.
Yep.
I'm listening to the Marshall and Bungie and Lyrical song that just dropped a little while ago. All of we is one family, and they're talking about race and creed and color don't matter. And if Trinbagonians could translate everything that we preach during Carnival
How we
time,
vote is not how we party.
and that was the biggest insult according
Yeah.
to Philip. It was. We sing it and we whine and we jam to it, but it's one of the biggest insults that how we vote is not. Carnival Day in anybody your party would.
You ride or die is a different race to you. But come election day in that polling station, them could die.
Yeah. I have
My
friends
race
to
alone.
enemy, friends and family to an enemy over politics.
Build a wall down the house, the center of the house. Don't come in my side of the house. You nasty UNCPN and whatever. No, but seriously, and we cannot say this enough. The Progressive Empowerment Party belongs to all the people of the country. All of the people of the country. We who reach here first, we don't think that this is ours to claim. We are you. We are you. We're carving a space for you. Our job is to open the drapes and open the window and let some fresh air into the conversation. Our job is to move all the dust that obfuscate the conversation all these years, change the narrative, create a space where all of us could sit down in one room and talk, okay, now we fix this. Because every country that works in the world, Michelle, every country that works, Janice, there was a time in its history where its people had to say enough.
Yep. Let's put aside the politics and fix it.
That is so true.
And it starts with a dream. Martin Luther King said it. It all
Dream.
starts with a dream.
We,
And people
we
call us
talked
dreamers,
about
huh?
a clear, crystal vision.
Yes.
That's what we were talking about in the first hour this
I
morning.
have a dream.
See how we tie up it. They come full circle. Full
right
circle.
back.
Full circle in my high five. No, but really, every people who look at us and say there's no room for third party, I tell all of them, listen.
They done that talk. We don't make we
Yeah,
room.
we made our room, but
Correct.
every historical movement in this world started with somebody having a dream, somebody having a vision for
that's
better,
right.
somebody saying, you know what?
Mandela.
I don't want to work
He
with my
had his
hands
vision.
all the time. Let's build tools to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with a dream and a vision for better. So, for those who have that vision, those who see a better country, there's no better party to join. Well, actually,
Right
there is
now.
no option to join than the Progressive Empowerment
That's
Party.
right.
It's only party, like I say, we took 20 minutes of plans and ideas to fix this country, and that's just scratching the surface. Like I said, there's so much in store, so much that can be done to fix this country. But we have to understand that we have a responsibility to
And,
make
and,
it
and,
happen.
and you're right, and you're making a point because again, when I was driving here, I ended up talking to this girl Tiffany, and I was telling her, I said, when the trolls, the reason we call them trolls, you have to understand, we don't disrespect, because I said, you and I remember how we met, because she was disagreeing with me and the party completely. And I engaged her in that conversation, and I wasn't giving ground. And we talk, and she said, yeah, but I had to be somebody that's open to the idea. And I said, that's the point. That we will deal with everybody who wants to have a conversation, but they have to be open-minded. We can't come into your head and kick down the doors that keep in your mind shackled. We are here willing to have any conversation. But to the people who just want to distract and make a set of noise, we can't have no time for them. There are some people, and I said yesterday on a conversation, on a thread on Facebook, and this person said, some of your policies can't work, they're impractical. I said, tell us which ones. And I catch them off guard. Because they're not expecting that you will defend yourself.
Right.
A lot of people on Facebook just post their thing and go on. So tell us which is impractical so we can have a conversation. And then they'll make the list, and then you have a conversation with them, and you're telling them and you're showing them, and you're literally eviscerate their objections, you educate them so they see. And when you stop and they realize that you've definitively debunked their thing,
Correct.
the personal attacks come. It was about the policies then. You don't like it. Because, and I can't do nothing about that. Gandhi said, some people will like you, some people will hate you. Neither of that is your job. Your job is to do your mission. That's my mission. I have a mission. We all have a mission. Listening to Janice and Tony on the radio, and I was driving on the road today, I felt safe. Somebody said having when they talk, I look and I see. When Michelle, when you write in the paper, Simon, his wife Chelsea, I listen to that each of them are saying, you're mad. I'm saying, brother, if the majority of the people going one way and you trying to go the other, you don't think it's you might be mad?
That did not occur to him. Oh gosh, I tell you.
But really and truly,
Yes.
true, and that is expected.
But the important thing is you must act.
What
I
is it?
remember when I first saw Philip on the Facebook, right? And he kept saying,
Madman.
yes, and he kept saying, come down to Stanmore Avenue, come down, come and have your say, come and ask your questions. You know how many times I drove past, boy? And I would just look and I would just go,
I think I saw Janice that time.
So wait, like, you're stalking long time, Tony?
stalking, boy.
Tony, she's stalking long time.
And then one day something got me vexed, and I said, you know what, Jan? Time for action. Time to get off the pedestal. Time to get off the fence. Time to be a part of the movement. To stand up and say, who vex? Who vex lost? Right?
And Janice,
and to do something.
You have to be able to, you have to tell people that you have a political pedigree too. I watching a brother and a sister, not Janice. Janice, her brother have a political party too. But I watching a former member and a current member, a brother and a sister having an argument on Facebook. And I said, I can't go in that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I can not talk my brother, but you can't, right?
Exactly.
So I can't go in that. And the two of them, brother and sister, fighting over PEP. Over the right of the political party. And some people are so rude with themselves that they don't understand their political responsibility to the country. So they don't want you to have yours as well. And I totally disagree with that. If you choose to live up to your neck and filth, that's your choice. But I have free will and choice too.
That's right. The saying
Somebody
that don't want it.
This was probably the guy you were talking about. Somebody came on my thread to tell me and remind me that I lost my deposit last year. I said, you know what happened the day after that? I woke up, I was alive, I was okay, and I'm still. I look back on that experience and say I will do it again because I at least know I gave something a chance, and I at least know in everything that I'm doing now in the Progressive Empowerment Party, I am one of these citizens who understand that I deserve better. I don't know about those who don't. I know I deserve better.
Correct.
I know that as a citizen of this country, the money that passes through this country also belongs to me.
That's
So
right.
I don't care what people say. I can't burst I lose my deposit. But I stood up for something. I said,
All of them lose their deposit. Williams lost his deposit. Manning lost his deposit. And if Robbie didn't give Manning a blind in 1986, if they had recount San Fernando East, Manning would have never know Patrick Manning. You know? all of that is history too. But Michelle, as we wrapping up, you as the well, you are the deputy party organizer. Are there any plans for the other constituencies? I think people in the east and north and central and Tobago want to know why all this attention on south. So while you are the coordinator of the south region, you also wear another hat. And what's in the cards for these other regions?
Well, this year we are bringing the Progressive Empowerment Party to the hubs. After the South Hub, we are planning on the East Hub opening, and then we will be going north. We are planning Central also. So we will be in your area. We will be there to serve you.
Alicia, it was great having them on board and hearing their views. I want to encourage all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, do get involved in your area, your community. It's for yourself, it's for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Get off the fence, make a choice, get out there, take action. It is your time now for real change coming after the general elections and the Progressive Empowerment Party is elected as the current government in 2020. You have to be a part of that. It is for your benefit. All citizens must enjoy a decent standard of living,
Amen.
not just a few.
Amen.
Good day.
I do want to remind everybody who are coming out on the 19th that you can contact us to RSVP a space. We are going to have secure parking for the people who RSVP. We're going to have parking regardless, but if you know you want to get a nice spot, you want to get your seat reserved, you can call us at 347-4PEP or 347-4737. You can also email us at peptrimbago@gmail.com. You can sign up on our Facebook page, leave us a message. We always have one of our admins there ready and willing to answer any question that you have. On the 19th, of course, we are going to have refreshments, live entertainment, feature just some our political leader, Philip Edward Alexander.
Mr. Sexy himself.
Mr. Sexy, Mr.
Yes, I'm taking that from here. I'm taking that.
The man who too sexy for TV, so they put him on radio himself. You're going to meet him. You meet me as the chairman of the party, Michelle Davis, who is the head of the South Hub, as well as our deputy party organizer, Anthony, who is our head of membership and more importantly, our deputy, newly appointed deputy political leader,
yes.
Lima McLeod Wilkinson, our other deputy political leader, Christoph, the head of our youth arm, Janice Piaru, our national security advisor, Richard Blaze. Come meet the entirety, because this you might seem like the quiet force, but there's a deadly force behind this party. And the kind of people that are involved in this party, you can't believe we have the right people for the right time and everything. So
Correct.
on the 19th of January, 6 p.m., join us, 137 Manahambra Road, St. Madeleine.
Not only that,
Stacey
Saturday, come down 19 Stanmore Avenue as well.
2 p.m.
2 p.m.